We have a hard stop here in about 32 minutes. We're going to do a training today, just kind of introducing the Franklin product. And in 2 weeks, 8/31, 2 weeks, we'll have a more deeper dive into the product. So, Justin, go ahead and take it away, brother.
Great. Well, I appreciate that, guys. It looks like we just lost the PowerPoint, so we're going to pull that back up again. Something right as we pressed recording, it died on us. So perfect timing. But yeah, great to meet everybody. My name is Justin Hopkins, and I am with Franklin Whole Home. So I'm the strategic accounts director, and I'm the one who has been kind of supporting the power onboarding and really both on a sales side and then also on a installer side, making sure that your guys' install partners have all the tools they need to be successful in the field, get these installs done quickly for customers. As you guys know, you want people on their property for a long time, and our battery commissions in about 5 minutes. So it's been a good experience kind of meeting everybody from that side of things. So let me go ahead and share my screen if it'll let me. New share. There we go. Perfect. So what you're looking at here is the Franklin A Power. This is the battery portion of our system. Our system comes with two parts, a controller and a battery. But it's a beautiful battery, actually shows the state of charge and the power in the A Power. So when a customer leaves for work, they're going to see their batteries drained all night. And when they come home from work, they're going to see that the solar has filled their battery back up full for power they're going to use at nighttime. So it's a great way to kind of get people off of their apps, off of their phones, wondering what their system's doing, and they can just see it working every day in their normal interactions of getting stuff out of the garage or walking outside of the house. And same thing with the aesthetics. We wanted to keep it at home in a luxury garage as well as next to a home, because these people are really prideful of this. And I always joke that the aesthetics of solar and storage, it's like taking your kid to Supercuts for his first haircut, and then he comes out with a mohawk. Like here's the curtain, and there's all these red stickers and all this conduit everywhere, and now you have to go through the explanation of an angry homeowner wondering why their house looks like a submarine. So we've really focused on giving you guys a solid product that looks good, and it's going to keep those questions off the map. This is a picture of my face. Keep moving though. So you guys have had some glory days, right? The last 5-6 years in solar has been incredible, and really glad that everybody was able to take advantage of these incentives, of these one-in-one net metering programs that were available to homeowners for the last few years. It's made our job as solar salespeople really easy, right? Now, maybe not easy. There's a lot of competition, but certainly made it easier than it could have been, as you guys are starting to find at this day. So as we move into an era of storage, and as is known, energy storage systems, part of solar, I want to kind of just give you guys some basic training. Some of the stuff you probably already know, but it's great to kind of refresh so that you can explain to consumers on a basic level, remind them of how these things actually work, because it's safe to say nobody really understands. They're looking at you and trusting you to bring them the best technology and the best explanation. So we've all heard the solar power is water analogy, right? And basically solar panels are full send solar generators, just pumping. They only run at 11, and as much sun as they can get, they're going to turn that into power. They're going to send it to your main panel. Up until now, you could send that power back to the grid, get a credit, trade it for more expensive energy, but we're still using, say, the water tank that is the utility, right? It's a master tank that everybody's pulling from. And now, right, with that master tank is getting a little low, like there's not always power for everybody in it. And you can build your own water tank, right? Your own place to store that water and net the best ROI and the best value possible out of your solar system, given the changes that are happening in the market. Your appliance becomes they're the faucet, right? That's how you use the water, but it's always there. It's in your spot instead of you standing at the bottom of a mountain stream trying to catch it with a bucket. I always kind of think of that analogy. That's like, if you're an NEM and you don't have a battery on your house, NEM 3.0, and you're dumping solar, it's literally like, think chaos of the guy at the bottom of the waterfall trying to catch a little water to drink. You're losing a lot. So there's going to be 5 important factors that are going to help you guys sell the Franklin product. And I'm going to dig into the product itself and give you guys an overview, but it helps for you guys to kind of understand like what are customers really looking for, right? There's 5 main factors. Capacity. This is how much power do I have access to, right? How long can I run it? And there's one more important caveat. How much can I save? Right? That's related to capacity, and we'll dive into that a little more. Output is purely what can I power in my home, right? But the output of battery is actually really important. I think sometimes we confuse capacity and output and maybe under design or over design systems. The other important thing to be discussing with the homeowner is chemistry, right? How safe and durable is this product that I'm putting on my house, spending tens of thousands of dollars on, and potentially installing 8 feet away from where my kid sleeps, right? So Tesla offered me a free battery a few years back, and I was like, no way. That would have been right by where my daughter lays her head at night. I wasn't going to put a little fire nugget 6 feet from my princess, right? But other thing that's important to notice, and it's technical name for you guys, is a UL rating. Can it go outside? Can it go in my garage? Is it waterproof? Is it fire hazard, right? Like all these things, do they have to be 3 feet apart? Important to know the product you're selling in the region you're in. What can you do with the design so that your customer is comfortable and happy with? You don't have to come back with crazy changes, right? And then obviously the most important qualifying factor we're all facing with high interest rate is going to be cost. People stop looking at luxury items when the money to buy it costs twice as much as the thing they're buying, right? So it's going to be, what can I afford and do I want to pay for it, right? Can I afford it or not? And do I want to pay for it? If the customer's motive for getting solar and storage is to just pay less every month, this is a different conversation, right? Just tell them to move. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a very important factor that I know you guys have to deal with in the home when negotiating. But again, does capacity meet my savings needs? These are going to be the deciding factors on your customer's decision to make a battery. The other 5 are important for knowing what they need and educating, but does the capacity meet my savings? Does output meet my home's power? And how does the cost stack up to value, right? What are the aesthetics? How much equipment am I actually putting? What am I actually going to yield from this storage system? How much power can I store? You can drive the conversation to a really short 1-lane highway right here that just checks off the boxes for the customer and moves them on so that you guys can get further along with your close. Couple rules though, to not be shady. Don't tell customers that are on one-on-one net metering rates that they're going to save money with a battery, right? They're actually going to lose a little bit because you got to store that power and there's a conversion rate, right? Batteries in one-on-one markets should be sold for backup only, not self-consumption. You're going to waste the warranty on the battery. Like you might want to use self-consumption a little bit, but the battery will naturally discharge and use its power. If they're getting one-on-one net metering credits, you're going to get the best conversion, dumping it right back to the grid, as long as they're getting it, right? If you see some discrepancies, that's when the customer might want to start looking at self-consumption because their utility is screwing them. Don't tell the customers they can run their whole house on one battery. We're Franklin Whole Home, and believe it or not, you can run most of your house, if not your whole house, on one battery, depending on what you got. Right? It's a lot of different. I want you to look at, oh, this is a small house. I can run it on one battery, no problem. Inside, they never invested in HVAC or a proper heating and air system, and they're running little electric heaters all winter. Why is a customer have a $400 bill they can't pay? Right? So get an understanding of the customer's usage, but whole home starts with 2 batteries, guys. It really is, protect your customer and their expectations on that regard. Know the stats, know what the product can do. That's going to be super key. As you guys know, time of use market is changing all over the country. This is a gold mine for you guys. In Missouri, they're doing away with a lot of net metering and increasing the time of use. So there's going to be opportunities all over the country to find great value in batteries and design these, right? A customer in SCE, you want to give them enough batteries to get them all the way through the night, right? We don't want to use 40 cents any more than we want to use 53-cent energy. But in Missouri, where it's only 4 to 8 p.m. is 28 cents and the rest of it's 9 cents. Unless they want to run their welder and their AC in an outage or their CNC, those kind of things, like don't sell them a huge battery system. The value proposition won't be there on the ROI. So things to consider, the when and the why of what to install, right? Cool thing about California, guys, the value prop is huge. The more power you can store and discharge back to the grid in September, the bigger the cash credit that's going for the customer, able to carry forward. And a cool fact about NEM 3.0, even if the customer gets PTO'd in, say, February, they can change their PTO date or their true up date one time. So they want to go through the year. They want to play with the different things, see what the best situation is for them. Maybe in July, they want to change it, their true update to July, so that they can take their August and September credits and carry them all the way through the year. Every solar company on the planet right now is diving in, trying to find the delta here of where it's like a perfect scenario. But another thing, right? You know, you're going to get paid for the power you send back. We can send a significant amount back with our high power output, and you've got 13.6 kilowatt hours to exchange if you don't want to use it. With Enphase, you've got a 10 kilowatt battery that only gives them 9.1 usable power to exchange. They don't get to use the whole 10. So we're actually technically 50% more usable capacity in the Franklin than the Enphase battery. That's the only smack I'm going to talk, because when it comes to their pocketbooks and your customers' pocketbooks, you owe them to give them the best, right? So same thing in Hawaii. You've got these battery incentives that are really extensive. There's a great market to be selling into right now. Not to take advantage of tragedy, but everybody is on high alert when it comes to protecting their bottom line and making sure they have power, because Maui will be without power for months. We just shipped about 10 batteries over to some help centers there so that they can get up and running with the pre-existing systems they have. Another thing to take a look at is going to be our app. If you haven't downloaded the Franklin app yet, you can't sell the battery because you don't know what it does, right? Go to the App Store, go to Google, Apple, whatever it is that you're getting your stuff from, download the Franklin app and learn how to use it in time of use mode. It's really simple. Pick the time I want to discharge, set the dates, set the percentage, how much battery I want to save, set it and forget it for the year. Move it in self-consumption for the rest. So very, very simple, easy to show your customers and homeowners so that they understand what they're investing in, and those big promises, that big money you're showing them will be available to you. Just giving you guys another conversation speech, and I'm going to get into the product here. I picked the middle ground in California. SDG&E is just like ridiculous prices, and I'm not going to even sell on that because, of course, it's like you guys should be selling hotcakes there. PG&E is kind of on the lower end of the cost. They raised their prices like they say they're going to. People are going to mutiny given the poor service up there. But yeah, PG&E prices are increasing 24% for their current state, 6%, 7%, and then 6% again over the next 4 years. It's a total of almost 40% electricity costs, guys. Some big jumps. 13.6 kilowatt hours a day in Southern California Edison at their peak rate is going to cost you about $7 a day. Anywhere on those other things, at an average of about 48 cents is $6.50 a day, right? Hell, you go into the lower baseline, you're still paying $4 a day for 13.6 kilowatt hours. That is your savings when you install a Franklin. That is your avoided cost of energy. It's as simple as how much power am I storing and not sending to the utility or buying from the utility. So your ROI over a 12-year period with two of these batteries is going to be well over $50,000 in SCE. And yeah, Bo, 76 cents. It's Armageddon down there, man. Like people walking around with candles. It's brutal. But yeah, 12-year warranty on the product. And I'll explain to you, that's going to give you a better net present value. That's going to give you a better ROI for your customer across the board. Because really, every kilowatt you produce from your system that's not stored or credited is a hole in your investment, right? Protect your ROI, protect the power you produce every day. High capacity is king. That's why I joined Franklin right there. I've been doing this for 15 years. And when I saw the product, I knew we were in for something really special, because as a sales guy selling these since 2019, I've had my fair share of heartaches and headaches and very pissed off Aunt Betty's, right? So I wanted to bring a solid product in here to, share with an industry that I know and love, and get you guys off and running as we kind of move into this new era, to give you something that's a really solid tool. So this is the Franklin system. This is a beefy system. This wasn't even done. It's way cleaner on the final install, but this is the first time we saw 6 of these like stacked together. The biggest is now 11. So, given the cost of outages, flooding from burst pipes, $16,000 or more, medical devices, lost wages with no internet, being displaced in your own castle, it's really hard to put a real value. And I'm going to jump ahead, guys, on this because we do have limited time today, and we will work on a second training to even go deeper into this, because I dedicated to being a resource for you guys. So in the Franklin battery, we have a tier 1 battery cell. We're using a prismatic battery, LFP battery cell. These are the same cells that are going in the Chevy electric cars, the Ford Lightning, the new Tesla Model 3s. They're all cells coming from CATL, the world's largest battery manufacturer. Oh, Doug, you might need to mute yourself, buddy. Okay. And again, these are made with EV grade LFP. They're extremely resilient. They're made for different weather conditions, and they're expected to be cycled, right? We do not have a cycle warranty or a cycle limit in our warranty currently as it stands.
Hey,
So,
can I ask you a question, Justin?
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry, I know you're trying to get through it. I hear what you're saying, but
yeah.
this is real with these battery sales, because the thing is that you show that chart, which is like 4 to 9 p.m. I mean, I've sold a lot of batteries too. I sold, I don't know, Semper Solaris. We were #1 for battery sales for Tesla Powerwalls for all the 2019, 2020. We did a lot of batteries. I don't know how many I've sold, 300, 400, what jobs, I don't know how many. But here's the thing: you put 4 to 9 p.m. That was the way it used to be. I don't know if that's an old slide. That's the way it used to be. But the complexity of the current system with PG&E, when there's 12 months a year, there's 24 hours a day, there's like 288 different values. It's substantially more complex than you're making it out to be. It's not just like, oh yeah, do you use it in the day or in the evening? It's much more difficult. So I think we have to be sincere and have to have some integrity when we're talking about how we're dealing with this for people, because I think that the problem is people are asking me questions, and the true answer is, when they're saying, is this going to save me money? How much, what do I need? And stuff like this. The answer is, it's not really that clear anymore, because of the way that like this chart right here. Yeah. So it's substantially more complex. And so but I sold time of use before, where there was 4 to 9 p.m. for peak rates. And so I've sold this for, I don't know how many years. I've been selling solar since 2016, as long as batteries have been around, maybe 2018 or whatever it was. But I think that when you're looking at the total solution of this, we just got to be real. The complexity is quite high. And so I know you're want to make it sound easy, so this is not a hard thing to do. But when we get in the reality with real customer situations, it is much more complex than it's been made
I'm literally skipping those slides, right, so that we can do a deeper dive, Brad. What I will tell you is this: it's not that complicated when you design the system correctly for the customer to essentially live off grid. If you are trying to build these little nifty 10 kilowatt end phase, 5 kilowatt, 6 kilowatt systems, yeah, good luck. I'm sorry. It's a much different value proposition when you are putting enough in the catcher's mitt to take what's coming. Franklin Holmes, a high capacity battery. And if you're installing a 10 kilowatt with a 10 kilowatt battery, like, yeah, that's going to be a complicated saving structure, man. 100%. But if you're installing a system that installs, say, 30, 40 kilowatt hours a day on a 27.2 kilowatt system, it becomes a lot less complicated. You're going to generate the power and you're going to use it. And based off of these months, you're not going to have, like, these months are going to overproduce and lose some of your production, and these months you're going to have a bill.
What I'm saying is, with the modeling for both power, actually, and also your company, is that there's really no way to know how much it's going to cost a customer, because we don't have the breakdown per hour every day of every year. There's the level of complex. I mean, we can get like some just general estimates and like trends. I think that's possible.
Yeah.
But I think to really know what the value proposition is, it's kind of like, well, let's wait and see. I mean, that's kind of what it is with solar now, right?
Yeah, you look at there is a simple answer and there's a complicated answer, Brad, and we'll deliver this on the second one, right? The simple answer is this: there's an avoided cost of energy. If you use X amount of energy at this time, it costs you this and this, right? Leaving net metering out of the conversation. Let's say I'm just putting a battery on the customer's house and they're going to charge it off of the grid at this time and discharge it at the grid at this time, which isn't a great value prop in California. But if that was the case, right? Like, none of that net metering stuff matters, right? It really does.
What I'm saying is, it seems stunning to some of the battery manufacturers, and I was on the thing earlier this week, the Cal SSA and all the different like groups that were involved with that. We're talking about like the span and all these different things, and everybody seems so like, why isn't anybody selling anything now? And I think that part of the problem is we have to it is complicated. And I think if we're trying to avoid the discussion, just to kind of like glaze over for customers, and like they don't really understand it, like we'll just give them like the this standard answer, and hopefully, it'll work out for them. I just don't think that that's high integrity, in my
So
opinion. I
we
think that
do
there's
we do have only
attorneys.
about 10 minutes left of this
Yeah,
training.
All right,
let's
I'm sorry.
We
Okay,
have a second
that's fine.
training in a couple of weeks.
No,
That'll
no,
be
no
more in
problem. Okay.
depth. So
Yeah, we'll definitely
Yeah.
go into the deeper. And I mean, Brad, again, if you haven't downloaded the app, what I would recommend, there is a way to scare the crap out of your customers, and there's a way to keep it really simple and still be honest with them, right? Listen, in Texas, in Florida, some of these markets, like your net metering is worth garbage. The electricity is cheap, and the conversation is totally different. Yeah, you're not going to get away from the standard fees from the utilities in California, but you can get rid of most of them. It's just like, it's not a savings play anymore. It's a different conversation. If you're living in the end phase solar edge messaging, it's not going to work. Like, it's a different conversation if you're doing backup. Now, you can do non-backup with Franklin as well, but I'm not even going to get into that. Let's go over the product. Next training in 2 weeks, we'll do a deep dive, and you'll get an hour with me on the stuff that matters. So Tier 1 battery cell, mentioned that. This is an all-in-one system design. So this comes ready. Thankfully, you guys are not installing it because they are very heavy, about 400 pounds. But the advantage of that is we're able to build it, test it, run it in the facility before we ship it. We know it works, versus a battery being put together by your installer on the job site, piecing everything together and crossing their fingers and spending 3 hours commissioning it. It comes ready. It's a 5-minute commission. Everything is prefabbed in the system already, including this consumption monitoring. We have the option to put in a smart circuit. What those do is that's essentially for your larger loads, like your air conditioning unit, maybe your washer and dryer, or your electric car, loads that would either A, cause an MPU because you're adding solar, or an electric car, or B, would fault your system out because they don't match the output of the battery. So we're going to move those over where if the solar is producing enough power where you can use both the battery and the solar to support it, and we can run it, great, they will remain on. But if there's not enough power, it'll automatically turn those off. What it also does, similar to we call it like a spam panel for dummies, is you can set the state of charge on those appliances to essentially shut them off, right? At a certain state of charge of the battery. So my house in Arkansas, we have the vacation home. There's like 2 ACs that shut off, one at 75%, one at 50%. The pool pump goes off automatically in the event of an outage. Keeps it really simple. I always have power, and turns it off as it needs to go. These are off-grid, out of the box. You can install this up to a solar system and hook it up to some loads on your house. Does not need to be grid connected because it can island itself using both the solar as a power source and the battery as a power source. Important note, you can use 1-to-1 AC solar with the battery because we have 5 kilowatt continuous output. So if you put a 9 kilowatt system on a Franklin with one battery, we're going to need to turn off 4 kilowatt of the system when the grid goes down if you want to use that solar to provide power to the home. We have some changes coming with the new A-Gate that's coming out that'll make that a little simpler and easier, but that's not really something you guys need to worry about too much. In a long-term outage, those customers are going to have a perfectly functioning system versus system with other, I'm not going to name the products, that have a lot of issues when it comes to that frequency shifting. This is a 12-year warranty, guys. So you can do it for whole home. You can also do it for partial home. We'll get into the specs on that in a minute. As far as the battery is concerned, it works with all 240-volt generators, even the portable ones. But good luck finding an installer that wants to connect a portable generator to this. So that being said, customer can do it. It works with any AC inverter on the market. So big joke with us is we work better with Generac than Generac. We work better with Enphase than Enphase. Because you could put the M190, the M250, hell, you can put a solar edge system and an Enphase system, pair them together and send them into this battery. And still utilize that power when the grid is down. So I repeat, work with any AC inverter. This is an AC coupled system. It's 13.6 kilowatt hour. It's a slow roll of the middle finger to Tesla with that number. As you know, Tesla is a 13.5, but really we're closer to a 15 kilowatt hour battery installed. We do leave extra power that's not usable by the customer so that in the event they do drain their battery all the way, they can still start up their inverter on the PV system the next day and utilize the solar panels and actually get power and recharge the battery. So Tesla is famous for draining the battery, and then you got to send somebody out with a generator to charge it back up, because they can't get power to it. We run at 5 kilowatt continuous for you techies. That's 21 amps, and 10 kilowatt peak for 10 seconds. So yeah, we can start a 4-ton AC, but if you only have one battery, it's only going to run for 10 seconds. Right. It'll start it up, but it's going to shut it right back off because the continuous output is at 5 kilowatt. Stackable all the way up, guys, to 204 kilowatt of storage, kilowatt hour of storage. That's 15 batteries. And you can get a paralleled output on up to 8 batteries. So essentially small commercial, you can run a small hospital in Mexico off of like 8 of these batteries. Again, big thing here, right? We under promise, we over deliver on what you're bringing the customer. Enphase sells the customer a 10 kilowatt usable 9.1. We sell them a 15 kilowatt hour battery that they don't even know is 15 kilowatt hour. All they know is it's 13.6 and I can use all of it. It's going to work again in a multi-day outage, and you can stack and stack. The more batteries you add, the more powerful it gets, the more capacity you have, and the more output power. So if I have 5 batteries, I'm running 25 kilowatt continuous to my home, or 100 amps continuous, 200 amp surge. So definitely the most stackable battery on the market. And I think that's why a lot of the larger installers have taken to us, because they can go in, they can put this in when the customer wants to expand and get an EV and maybe a hot tub in the future. They can land it on the smart circuits without a main panel upgrade and add a couple batteries, take the customer all the way in. So maybe want to screenshot this if you're looking at this on a computer, but this is your application setting when we're looking at what does 1 battery versus 2 versus 3 batteries. This is a very cut and dry vanilla version of, hey, yeah, I can put my garage door, my internet, my fridge, my lights, my oven, like all that stuff, no problem, right? But my water heater, my washing machine on a single battery, if it's electric, you're going to want to put those on the smart circuits, right? They use a lot of power. And I don't want to fault my whole house out because my kid takes a shower for 25 minutes. So you don't want, it drains the battery, right? So this is where these smart circuit conversations start coming in on single battery things like a pool pump, maybe the washing machine or the dryer. And obviously with 2A powers, no issues running the 3-ton HVAC or a 4-ton HVAC, as well as heat pumps, electric stove, and well pumps. So again, with a battery, we've got a 20 kilowatt surge with 2 of these. So lots of power, really easy. Once you get to 2 batteries, you're looking at whole home for the most part. Occasionally giant houses will need 3. And again, you can stack these all the way up the ladder. Want to kind of use this last few minutes with you guys to look at the chemistry, right? What does chemistry matter? Because I know a lot of you guys are out there slinging Solar Edge like it's your job and good for you. That's fine. But do you guys really understand like the difference between NMC, which is nickel, manganese, cobalt, otherwise known as a lithium ion phosphate, versus LFP, which is lithium iron phosphate? One letter, one of the more annoying letters in the world, the alphabet, R. It's literally like one letter that separates good versus like fire nugget. And NM's nickel, manganese, cobalt. In addition, it's very powerful. You can get more power in a small space, but also makes it more volatile. It's also mined by little children in Africa, a lot of it. So like you got to look at the ethics of where it's coming from. There's, this has always been our biggest argument against Tesla is we are so much safer and we do all of that and more, right, for a similar price. Very little thermal runway. It's densely manufactured. Think about all the EV cars that are being made right now across the planet. We're using the same type cell. So when we need to ramp up to 50,000, 100,000 batteries and meet supply of the market, it's not a problem for us because we're literally in line with Tesla and Chevy at cattle. And again, LFP is also more recyclable for you hippies in the group that actually care about the planet. This has always been a really important thing to me, which is end of life plan for these batteries. What's going to happen? And 88% of the material of this battery in the cell is recyclable. So lastly, to cover, we'll open up the questions for a few minutes, is our A-Gate. Guys, this is our controlling management device. This manages sources like your battery, your solar, the grid, a generator, maybe a bidirectional vehicle. And you can put obviously you got the smart circuits you can connect into here, which is again, like your larger appliances, so they can control it from the phone or automatically shut it off. You can see what your house is using in real time. You can see what your solar system's producing, what your battery is having to put out or being charged with. It all is happening there. And it's literally in real time. So customer is in an outage and they see, I'm using a little more like too much power right now. I'm at 4 kilowatt. If I go over 10, I'm gonna surge. They might want to walk around and get themselves down to a level that they know they're comfortable with, and it's very easy to do. They can look at their app as they turn off the lights and see where they're at on their consumption. This is also great for customers adding EV chargers. This is a 280 amp bus bar with 200 amp pass through. What that means is there is plenty of capacity for you guys to walk in and give a 125 amp main panel, pull those breakers over to a backup panel. You could connect 15 kilowatt to it if you wanted to, or 30 kilowatt. It wouldn't be an issue because you can build the 200 off of the A-gate without having to go to the utility and get a main panel upgrade and a meter spot. The only way that you're probably going to have to do an MPU is going to be certain AHJs don't require certain things. And then if there's a gas line in the mix, yeah, you guys know. I don't need to tell you. But yeah, if the customer's thinking about getting a hot tub, electric car in the future, this is put the A-gate in, get their service entrance upgraded now at less than the cost to do a main panel upgrade. And now they can add all the stuff in the future. And it was a couple grand. Not a big deal. This is what it looks like inside. Again, we put everything in. It's extremely clean and easy for your guys to manage. And it's a 16 millisecond transfer over between power sources. So customer loses power from the grid, we can change it over without them having to even change their clocks. Again, 280 amp bus bar, 200 amp pass through. Avoid most of your main panel upgrades, and we'll do a separate training on this on the next training as well. So we'll go over the NEM stuff, and then I want to talk to you guys about the electrical and how to avoid a main panel upgrade when you're talking to your customers. Okay. Again, guys, the app is super clean. If you haven't downloaded it and you're selling this product, you're missing out. This is the easiest way to get a customer to win them over. We have an off-grid button. So customer can press that. It'll kill the connection to the grid, and it'll only bring the grid back online if their power gets too low. Kind of cool. Again, national support, guys. We're all over the country supporting you guys with field techs in the Northeast, Southeast, Texas, Midwest, Southwest, California, even the Pacific Northwest. So, you know, again, guys, we want to give you an absolutely sexy battery that's easy to use, that's simple to explain to the customer, that does not require a billion math problems. So you can start getting into these bigger conversations of what does whole home look like? What does freedom feel like? And what's it going to cost me? So that's it. Let's open up some questions. And I got about 5 more minutes till I got to go.
I have a question, a couple.
Carrie!
Hey, good to see you.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much. I was actually on YouTube the other day watching Franklin training, trying to figure out my questions. So I'm glad you're here. And I'm sorry for the rest of the team if these are basic. I am not Brad, so I don't know these things. First, can you send over any of that PowerPoint that you just went through so we have like the scaling information and all that? Can you send that to us?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
we'll put that up into, it might already be in the Learning Center under Franklin. I think there was something shared, but if it's not, I'll make sure that this is a newly revised deck I just made. I'll make sure it's in there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and then you mentioned on there it said the smart circuit, like there was ones that you didn't need a smart circuit, and then it said smart circuit. Is that an adder that I need to put in there, or that's just letting me know the battery has a smart circuit and it's going to do that?
That's a great question. So there are some A-gates that are floating out there where they are. Our original one had it in there, and just it was standard. And we pulled them out because of the Lumens and the Savants and the Spans of the world, so that we could use that space for a Modbus or a smart circuit. And so that was, we kind of gave that option. It is optional now, but it's not very expensive. I would plan for a few $100 if you're going to add a smart circuits. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. And then, if there is some type of world emergency or a power outage, is this battery connect to some type of weather channel so it gets alerted if there's an emergency to go into emergency storage mode?
I love that, and it works really well. They've been firing up the last week for everybody in the Midwest and like Arkansas and Texas because of the heat storms and the solar flashes. Yeah, it's called Storm Hedge. It's actually
Storm
in your self.
Hedge.
Yeah, it's in your self consumption. So what that'll do is it'll actually prioritize charging from your solar to the battery over your home loads, as well as if there's not enough to charge it in a certain period of time, it will pull the grid at full send to charge the battery up to 100% before the weather event happens. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, good. All right. And then I know with one of the batteries that I was studying, if there was a they were comparing it to a competitor battery as
Yeah.
well, without mentioning any names, but they were saying that like when there's a big drain, like a big demand on the battery, the other batteries were getting kicked offline, and a couple years ago those batteries were offline for weeks and they were having a hard time getting them back online. And so this other battery was talking about how when there's a big demand that's going to go to the battery, it actually takes that huge demand and breaks it up into 3 equal chunks over a 1 second period. Does your battery do that as well, or there's no problem with big demands?
It's not needed with ours because we actually double the continuous power on surge.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I've yet to see the battery in our next, there's a next generation product coming that's even going to be more powerful. But yeah, right now, it's the highest surge rating of any of the batteries I've seen on the market. So like for instance, a Solarc, right? If you had a Solarc in a home grid system on a 15 kilowatt Solarc, it's actually running like the max, I think it's like 12 continuous. It surges up to like 17 or 15. Ours with 3 batteries at 15 kilowatt would run at 15 kilowatt continuous and surge to 30.
Okay.
It's a lot of power. So yeah, don't worry about that with us. I'm assuming that was Enphase referring to Solar Edge, or vice versa, one of the two. But they've got weak output. I don't worry about those 2 batteries. Solar Edge can, I think, go like 2.5, 2.5, 2.5 to 3 large loads. They have that shedding feature.
Okay.
So,
And
yeah.
then, oh, I'm sorry. Were you done? You took a breath and I'm like jumping in because I know somebody else might have questions.
No,
I'm so sorry. I'm trying to hurry.
Stop in like 1 minute. Yeah, I've got
Okay.
downside is I have to take my kid to physical therapy. So otherwise I've talked with you guys for 3 hours. But yeah.
Okay. I'll stop, and then that way if everybody else has questions, I can ask them too. Thank you so much, Justin. Thank you.
Yeah, Terry, let's connect offline. I'm happy to you helped me so much when I was getting into solar 15 years ago. I don't see why I can't help you figure out storage. So respect. Yeah.
I'm so glad. I'm so happy for your success. I really am.
Thank you. Thank you, Terry.
Yeah, I have a question. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great, man. How you doing,
Okay.
Alan?
My question is, I think this is like with all batteries, everything is kind of connected to the internet. I mean, they talk to each other. What happens if that get disconnected for, say, the web goes down or internet? Is the battery no more good at that point, or how does that work?
So great question, right? I mean, they're going to have power to power their internet. But if, let's say, like the satellite gets pumped down or something, right?
Yeah.
They can actually, and so we're talking internet's down, zombies are attacking, right? The world's ending. They can go out with their phone and utilize their phone's hotspot and connect it to the A gate and actually make manual corrections there to make change.
And that goes for Enphase or anybody. I mean, is everybody kind of at the mercy of these things communicating with each other, right?
Yeah. Well, the way our system works is you're going to connect the battery through a Cat5 cable to the gateway. So those 2 devices can actually, as long as there's power in the battery, you're going to have power to that communication, regardless of what's going on around the grid and communicate. So with your phone, if there's power in your phone, power here, you can connect those things because the hotspot's in the A gate. So it's just going to connect it to that to communicate, and that's the only communication channel. It's not going to report changes, and it's not going to report data to this. So you want to get your internet back on eventually, right? Because that's part of the warranty.
Right.
But yeah, no, customer can go out with the hotspot, no internet, no nothing, and actually make changes on the battery.
Yeah, because that's something that's not common knowledge. So I
Yeah.
mean, because it
No,
goes.
it's a great value add. I mean, there's some, I sit here and list features for days, right? But that's a great point that makes our product definitely stand out because we do not do the Bluetooth nonsense.
Right. Yeah, exactly. The Bluetooth nonsense. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. So,
Okay.
okay. I know you have to go, so I'll put
Yeah.
that.
Yes, we'll see you in 2 weeks. And I'm a resource for
weeks.
you. I'm gonna throw, I do this every time, and one of these days I'll stop doing this because it's probably bad. But I'm gonna throw my cell phone and my email up in the chat. If you guys are with a customer, if you need support, use this as like a 911 anytime. I got your back. All right. So.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Okay, good job. See you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Look forward to it, guys.
August 31st, team. Put it on the calendars. August 31st.
Wait, is there even a 31st in August?
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. I thought it was only 30 days in August. Okay, perfect.
I'm like, wait a second.
August
August 31st or September 1st, whatever that Thursday
All right,
is.
whatever the day is. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thanks,
That's
Justin.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin.